Welcome to Darklight Archives, the An Lushan Rebellion, a devastating conflict that ripped through the heart of the Tang Dynasty, spanning from 755 to 763 CE. It was one of the deadliest conflicts in human history, claiming tens of millions of lives. But the horrors of this brutal uprising extend far beyond mere numbers. Today, I'm uncovering 10 disturbing, lesser-known facts about the An Lushan Rebellion. The Nightmare of Chang'an. When An Lushan's forces captured the Tang capital of Chang'an in 756 CE, they unleashed a reign of terror on the city's inhabitants. Historical records, including the Ziji Tongjian, detail targeted executions of court officials and aristocrats perceived as loyal to the Tang Dynasty. An Lushan's admiral, Sun Xiaojie, ordered the execution of several members of the royal family, including the eldest princess and imperial concubines, as acts of revenge. The atrocities committed in Chang'an were part of the extensive turmoil of the An Lushan Rebellion, a protracted conflict that spanned several years and led to significant loss of life and widespread devastation throughout the Tang Empire. Cannibalism in Suiyang. The Siege of Suiyang in 757 CE stands as one of the darkest chapters of the An Lushan Rebellion. Historical records, including the Old Book of Tang and the New Book of Tang, document that as food supplies dwindled, the defenders, led by General Zhang, resorted to consuming the bodies of the dead to survive. There are accounts of soldiers eating leather, grass, and eventually human flesh as the siege wore on. Although some sources mention the consumption of corpses, there are no verified accounts of parents exchanging children to avoid consuming their own. The horrors of Suiyang became a grim symbol of the desperation and brutality of the conflict. The Siege of Suiyang, an episode marked by extreme hardship and desperate measures. In 757 CE, during the An Lushan Rebellion, the city of Suiyang, present-day Shanqiu, Henan, became the focal point of a brutal siege. Tang General Zhang, alongside Xu Yan, led a valiant defense against the rebel Yan forces, despite being vastly outnumbered. As the siege dragged on, food supplies within the city were depleted. Historical records document that the defenders resorted to consuming whatever was available, starting with horses, then moving on to leaves, bark, and eventually, in extreme desperation, human flesh. These accounts detail that the bodies of the deceased were used to sustain the living, a grim testament to the lengths the defenders went to hold the city. Despite the harrowing conditions, Zhang and his forces managed to delay the Yan army's advance for several months, preventing them from moving southward and buying crucial time for the Tang Dynasty to regroup. The siege ultimately ended with the fall of Suiyang, but the defenders' resilience became emblematic of unwavering loyalty and sacrifice. The assassination of An Lushan. After declaring himself Emperor of the Yan Dynasty in 756 CE, An Lushan's health deteriorated rapidly. He suffered from chronic eye problems that eventually led to blindness, painful ulcers, and extreme obesity. As his condition worsened, he became increasingly irritable and paranoid, often lashing out violently at his subordinates. An Lushan's erratic behavior and favoritism towards another son, An Chang'an, over his designated heir, An Qingshu, created tension within his inner circle. Fearing for their lives and positions, An Qingshu along with trusted officials Yan Zhuang and the Khitan eunuch Li Jue, conspired to assassinate him. On the night of January 29th, 757 CE, Li Jue entered An Lushan's quarters and attacked him. Blinded and unable to locate his sword, An Lushan was defenseless. He was fatally wounded in the abdomen, and as his intestines spilled out, he reportedly cried out, "This is a thief of my own household," before succumbing to his injuries. Following his death, An Qingshu ascended to the throne of the Yan Dynasty. However, internal strife and continued resistance from Tang forces eventually led to the downfall of the rebellion. The execution of Geshu Han and fellow Tang generals. Geshu Han, a prominent Tang general of Turkish descent, played a significant role in the early stages of the An Lushan Rebellion. In 756 CE, under pressure from Chancellor Yang Guozhong, Geshu was compelled to engage An Lushan's forces at Tong Pass, leading to a devastating defeat for the Tang army. Captured by the rebels, Geshu was initially treated with a degree of respect by An Lushan, who hoped to leverage his influence to sway other Tang generals. However, Geshu's attempts to persuade his former comrades to surrender were unsuccessful. When An Lushan's son and successor, An Qingshu, faced mounting pressure from advancing Tang forces in 757 CE, he ordered the execution of Geshu Han, along with approximately 30 other captured Tang generals. This act was both a punitive measure and a desperate attempt to consolidate power during a period of significant instability. Economic collapse. The rebellion not only devastated the Tang Dynasty's political structure, but also had profound economic repercussions. The rebellion led to massive destruction of infrastructure, loss of life, and displacement of populations, particularly in the northern regions, which were the empire's economic heartland. The once thriving cities of Luoyang and Chang'an suffered extensive damage, disrupting trade and agriculture. In response to the financial crisis, the Tang government implemented significant fiscal reforms. The traditional equal field system, which allocated land based on family size, collapsed due to the loss of arable land and population. In 780 CE, the government introduced the two tax system known as Liangshui Fa, shifting tax assessments from individuals to property and income, collected twice a year. This system aimed to stabilize revenue, but also marked a move towards a more monetized economy. Additionally, the Tang administration increased reliance on state monopolies, particularly in salt, to generate income. The salt monopoly became a significant source of revenue, accounting for over half of the government's income. However, this heavy taxation burdened the populace and contributed to social unrest, exemplified by subsequent uprisings like the Huangqiao Rebellion. These economic challenges weakened the central authority and contributed to the eventual fragmentation of the Tang Dynasty. Population decline. The An Lushan Rebellion had a profound impact on the population of the Tang Dynasty. According to the census conducted in 755, the population was recorded at approximately 52.9 million people. However, a census taken in 764, shortly after the rebellion ended, recorded only about 16.9 million people. This dramatic decrease of approximately 36 million people has been attributed to several factors. While the rebellion caused significant loss of life due to warfare, famine, and disease, Scholars also note that the breakdown of the central government's administrative capabilities during the rebellion likely led to underreporting in the census data. Regardless of the exact figures, the An Lushan Rebellion stands as one of the most catastrophic events in Chinese history, leading to massive population decline and long-term demographic changes. The rise of regional military governors. In the aftermath of the An Lushan Rebellion, the Tang Dynasty faced significant challenges in reasserting central authority. To maintain control over vast territories and suppress ongoing unrest, the imperial court increasingly relied on regional military governors known as jiadushi. These governors were granted substantial autonomy, including the power to maintain their own armies, collect taxes, and appoint officials within their jurisdictions. Over time, many jiadushi positions became hereditary, effectively creating semi-independent warlord states within the empire. This decentralization of power weakened the central government's ability to govern effectively and led to a period of political fragmentation. The rise of the jiadushi is considered a significant factor in the eventual decline and fall of the Tang Dynasty. Cultural and intellectual impact of the An Lushan Rebellion not only caused immense physical devastation, but also profoundly affected the cultural and intellectual landscape of the Tang Dynasty. The rebellion disrupted the lives of many scholars and poets, leading to a period of introspection and transformation in Chinese literature. Prominent poets such as Du Fu and Li Bai experienced the turmoil firsthand, and their works reflect the chaos and suffering of the era. Du Fu, for instance, was forced to flee his home and endured significant hardships, which he poignantly captured in his poetry. His writings provide invaluable insights into the human cost of the rebellion. The upheaval also led to a shift in intellectual thought. Many scholars began to question the prevailing philosophies and governance structures, leading to a re-evaluation of Confucian ideals. This period of reflection contributed to the evolution of Neo-Confucianism in later centuries. The An Lushan Rebellion thus marked a turning point in Chinese cultural history, influencing literature, philosophy, and the arts for generations to come. The long-term impact. The An Lushan Rebellion was a pivotal event that significantly weakened the Tang Dynasty and had lasting consequences for China's political and social structures. One of the most profound effects was the rise in power of regional military governors, known as jiadushi. These governors gained substantial autonomy, often becoming hereditary rulers in their regions, which led to the fragmentation of central authority. This decentralization persisted, contributing to the eventual decline of the Tang Dynasty and the onset of the 5 Dynasties and 10 Kingdoms period. The rebellion also caused a significant shift in the empire's economic center. The devastation in the north led to the south, particularly the Chang'an region, becoming the new economic heartland of China. This shift influenced the country's economic and cultural development in the subsequent centuries. Furthermore, the rebellion's impact on the population was catastrophic. While exact figures are debated, some estimates suggest that the population decreased by as much as 36 million people due to warfare, famine, and disease. In summary, the An Lushan Rebellion not only caused immediate devastation, but also set in motion changes that reshaped China's political landscape, economic centers, and demographic composition for generations to come. The An Lushan Rebellion was not just a war. It was a nightmare that swallowed millions of lives and forever altered the course of Chinese history. Even centuries later, the horrors of that dark time continue to echo through the ages. A chilling reminder of the devastating cost of power and ambition. Thanks for watching. If you found this video hauntingly fascinating, make sure to subscribe for more eerie, true tales from history. Until next time, stay curious.